Gus, you want to take the intro?
Oh, sure. Our very well planned out intro. Hello. Welcome to Little Schemers podcast. Every week we talk about a pretty random movie.
It's called Critically Loud. I'm just gonna
Oh
insert myself.
God, it's been so long.
Yeah.
Let's try that again.
Just restart. We got this.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, Thursdays. Hello, welcome to Critically Loud, Little Schemers podcast. We are here to talk about Suicide Squad. And along with us is Melvin Hix or Hickson.
Hi. Yeah, that's me. I do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course, dude.
Really excited to do this. It's definitely a movie. I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about it right now. I think we're just doing introductions, so let me not interrupt.
Yeah, sure.
We usually just kind of jump into it. Honestly, it's
okay.
And then we're into the movie.
What I will say, we forgot to do this with Layla. You might recognize Melvin if you listen to Tales of Quarantine, episode 2, Hunting Cranes.
Yeah.
He was Jesse in that.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of work went into that. So go watch it. More of you, please. Not enough of you have watched that.
Yeah, definitely go watch that. That was. We were a little bit over time with that, weren't we? Like for the project.
Yeah, that was mostly on me. Script development took a little longer than expected.
Hey, it was still fun either way, and it turned out great.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, you did great as well.
I appreciate it. Thanks to y'all.
All right, should we just jump in?
I guess so.
Yeah, audience probably knows I'm Kai. That's Gus. We don't really do this, but whatever, it's fine. Suicide Squad. It's a good movie. No, not Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is a good movie. Suicide Squad is not a good movie.
Don't forget the. That's very important.
It's incredibly important when talking about this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it, and it just felt like it didn't try to be anything like too big. It was just trying to be fun, and it did its job. It did its job well.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Kai, you made a very controversial. I don't know about controversial, but you made a very strong argument for this movie.
Okay. Yeah. This I have after some not so careful consideration. I think at least for the movies that I've seen, this is the best comic book movie I've ever seen. I might be a bit biased because it's also the first movie I've seen in Dolby cinemas. So like,
yeah, I can understand that. I can kind of see why it would be something like it feels more like a comic book movie than a lot of like other superhero comic book movies where they just feel like action movies. But with this, it had like so many like different like it just felt like you're reading a comic on the television on a big giant screen. So,
exactly.
Yeah. It was good.
Yes, this is a very good movie. Kai, I will make a counter argument. Spider-Verse.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about. I was either thinking about Spider-Verse or maybe the Batman movie.
The Dark Knight is
Dark
the
Knight,
big one everyone talks about. I think that movie gets a lot more credit than it deserves.
I haven't watched it in a very long time. I just hear that it's a really good movie. Heath, from what I like, so I watched a part of it recently. Heath Ledger as the Joker is one of the greatest acting performances of all time. Oh yeah.
That movie, like I think the majority of Christopher Nolan films, is a mess plot-wise.
Really?
Nothing makes sense. People just like do things. It like the script is so wild, especially at the end. There's one scene that like all the way through that I love, which is the opening sequence where they have like a bank robbery, and it's great.
Oh yeah.
And after that, I'm like, I'm into it, and you get to the second half, and you're like, this is just bad, in my opinion.
Okay,
you're gonna get some hate for that, but sure,
I'll take the
I'm
hate.
pretty sure you will. I'm pretty sure you will.
Heath Ledger carries that movie, and I think that's why people like it so much.
Yeah.
But I think he also hides a lot of the flaws that come from Christopher Nolan movies.
I'll agree with parts of that, but no, I see where you're coming from.
I can see, same here.
But we're talking about a different movie. We're talking about the Suicide Squad.
Speaking of Joker, I'm so glad.
Oh my God, yeah.
God, yes. I hate Heath Ledger's Joker. It's so annoying.
You just said Heath Ledger's Joker.
No, not Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Jared
What's
Leto?
his name? Jared Leto's Joker.
Jared Leto.
Great with names.
Oh my! It didn't even cross my mind because I don't see this movie or any of the, I never realized that the Suicide Squad movies are a part of the DC universe. I thought they were just their own thing. So that means like that Joker is the main Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so have you seen the Snyder Cut?
I haven't. I've not.
Okay. So have you seen Batman v Superman?
Yes, yeah, I've seen that one.
You know that like scene, that dream sequence Batman has where he's in like a trench coat and has a machine gun? So they go back to that at the end of the Snyder Cut. Do you care about spoilers?
I don't care about spoilers, but do they care about spoilers for the Snyder Cut?
If you care about spoilers for the Snyder Cut, skip to just press the
Kai, you have editing power.
Seconds. The little arrow button.
There's a sequence where Ben Affleck Batman and Jared Leto Joker have like a post-apocalypse conversation.
I think I saw images of that. Yeah.
It was all over the trailers when it was being advertised.
It's such a weird choice for Joker.
It is.
Get it.
It's like they were trying to get the subtlety of the character, but they wrote this is what everybody said. They wrote damaged on his forehead. You can't just have like an interesting character and write damaged on his forehead. That's not.
It's like how people saw Joker in like in 2016 with like all the memes and posters they would put up, like, oh, I'm so edgy. I love Joker. We live in a society. That's what it felt like. That's what that Joker felt like to me.
It's kind of interesting if you think about the fact, like Jared Leto Joker feels like like he's one of the people created by the 2019 Joker movie. Right?
Yeah, like canon now. They take place in the future, and Jared Leto was just a guy who watched the 2019 Joker, and then he was like, "Dude, the society's so messed up. I'm so crazy and damaged."
Nah, yeah, it's crazy to me. That stuck with me today when I was thinking about before I got on the podcast, because I was looking a little bit back. I was trying to remember everything about Suicide Squad in the first one too, and it just struck me that's our Joker for like the rest of the universe, like going on forever. That's the Joker we're stuck with. I
mean, the good thing is we know they're not going to do like an MCU style universe.
Yeah. Are they not? Because the whole Flash thing,
it's like a half thing.
They're resetting the timeline with Flash is what I think they're probably good. Like the way that, like what they did with X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
which is weird because the Robert Pattinson Batman is coming out before Flash, right?
I think
I was trying to figure out what is that? Is that like a different? Is it like Joker where it's just its own thing, or
I don't know.
Like,
that movie looks dope,
DC's just like. It's realizing Marvel's already got the cinematic universe in the bag, might as well just do our own thing. The Snyderverse is crashing anyway, so
yeah, I feel like with DC, instead of having its like a full-length universe and story, it feels more like the comics where like it's just Batman and different like art styles, different stories. Like it doesn't really follow a specific Batman throughout the whole thing. I feel like they tried to. I feel like that's what they're kind of doing with just having different variations of each character.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely like what Suicide Squad feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like the same story picked up by a different artist and writer in like the same comic line.
Yeah.
Like someone else took over and was like, this is going poorly. I'm taking this in a new direction.
I think what's clever about the Suicide Squad, I don't know if this is really. I'm just gonna say the characters are always swappable. James Gunn said that he wanted to do the thing like in old comics where they had the little box and it showed the heads of all the superheroes. It's like, oh, these are the characters featured in this comic, and then they always switch each comic, like new characters each comic. That's what they kind of wanted to do with the Suicide Squad, where every movie, if they choose to make another one, they will have like new characters and new villains and all that. So it actually does feel like the comics where you're getting new characters each time.
I think that would be really sick if you'd like keep though like a single character that's in all of them. It's just Harley Quinn's just in every single Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah. Harley Quinn is just she has plot armor. She's not dying,
and she's the freaking Harley Quinn. Like she's right now, she's true. DC's biggest asset. They're making a TV show. They got Margot Robbie. She's clearly like the most popular DCEU character.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the one thing I think that James Gunn might have created a problem for himself with is that there are certain characters that in this Suicide Squad movie that if they are not in the next one or if they die in the next one, people will become very upset about.
Yeah.
He did a very good job of creating like a core cast.
And
it's gonna be
he
really
made all
hard.
The characters very likable. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because he's James freaking Gunn. Like that's what he does.
Now, excluding a large scene in the movie, I mean, there are character deaths. The majority of them I feel like are well built up to and well earned. It's not like, boom, someone's dead, surprise.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Game of Thrones does that a lot. I'm not a huge fan of it.
I will say the when I first saw the trailer for this, I was kind of conflicted because of the first movie. I knew it was in great hands because of James Gunn, but it's still like, how are they going to build off of what happened in 2016?
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, oh God, please don't make this a career ender for James Gunn. Like he has such big shoes to fill. Like big shoes as in like crappy shoes. Like these are the worst.
Yes.
Like you give him like these like things that could have been cool. Like maybe you get like these really cool Air Jordans and you run them through a grinder and then you give them to him and he's like, there, wear these. And but he wore those shoes, man.
I thought I was pretty sure they were going to give James Gunn creative control to a certain degree because it's one of those movies where they were like, oh, we got way into this one. We got to step back a bit, and we've given it to a person who knows how to make movies that make a lot of money. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. He had a decent amount of creative control, and they were like, here you go, Suicide Squad. It's rated R. Do what you want to do, and that's what it felt like kind of from the beginning with me. And the fact that even in the trailers, he was like, here are characters from the old movies that I think could have done better. We are not going to talk about anything that happened in the first film.
Yeah.
In a direct way.
The way they executed the beginning of the film, I think they did it pretty well because they found a way to sort of give just like a quick summary of how the Suicide Squad works, like just very quick, straight to the point. And then they just got into all the characters, and some of the characters knew each other, some of the characters didn't. Like it was pretty like easy to catch on with who knew who in the situation. And James Gunn obviously making the characters likable for the audience.
And man, you can also just tell James Gunn he just understands comics. He knows how they work. He understands how ridiculous they are at moments, and most especially, he knows that this is a Suicide Squad movie. Like it is right off the bat a Suicide Squad movie.
Right.
Because I'm sure people have guessed a lot of people die in this movie because they have to. You can't have all these characters in this movie at the same time. That would be crazy.
I think we should probably start working to getting into the spoiler section because there is a very big plot at very close to the beginning of this movie that we've been kind of dancing around, and I think
the thing about the Suicide Squad movie is that there's so many spoilers everywhere.
It's true, yeah.
Like, it's hard to talk about this movie because even in the trailers, they don't really show anything besides some action scenes. But when you actually watch the movie, it's like, okay, there's a lot to unravel here. How am I going to talk about this without spoiling?
Well, before we go into spoilers, let's get the ratings. I think this is one of the only comic book movies for me that's a straight 10 out of 10. Just because I really, I think this is a fantastic movie. Again, I think it's the best comic book movie I've seen. I can get more into that later, but I think it's a 10 out of 10.
What about you guys?
For me, I think it's an 8 out of 10. I think it's super solid, really, really fun to watch. But ratings are hard for me just because even in my head thinking about ratings, it's very different for different types of movies. Yeah.
I watched this movie 6 times already. So
Same.
I don't. The thing is, I'll give it a 9 or a 9.5, something around there, 9 to 9.5. And the only reason is because it's not really, it's a fun movie, but also there's like, it's not really breaking any tropes for like superhero story wise. Like it's still saving the world from a big giant problem. I'm not gonna spoil it, but you know, just a big problem.
Yeah,
but it's still an amazing movie. Like they still did an amazing job on it. So yeah, I really enjoyed the movies. I will say this is definitely one of my favorite comic book movies. I would say Spider-Verse is always going to be my number one. Spider-Verse is going to be my number one. Suicide Squad might be number two. The Suicide Squad, of course. The Suicide Squad.
You can't forget that though.
Might be number two. Yeah, it's just so fun. It's an enjoyable movie, and I feel like James Gunn does an amazing job at making the most useless sounding characters, most boring sounding characters, just seem fun and just like engaging to be around. Yeah. Especially with them being villains too. Like you're not supposed to like these people, but they're so likable.
Yeah, for sure. And the movie never forgets that they're villains, which is one problem with the original movie, is they just try to make heroes out of them.
Yeah, it was. They definitely did a good job with still reminding them, yeah, they're bad people. They still are gonna do bad things throughout the whole movie.
One of the best sequences in the movie that I think, because we're in spoiler territory now, right?
Let's just get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
From now on, if you haven't seen the movie and you don't care about spoilers, it's just whatever. But if you do care about spoilers, put this on like the save watch list, whatever, and then watch it later because I like views.
Literally half of the cast dies in this movie.
It's so great. Okay. It's amazing. And it's in my opinion, it's very similar to what they tried to do in Deadpool 2, but executed so much better.
Yeah.
In the X-Force scene, you mean, with Deadpool 2?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so the movie starts with, what's the name of the guy? The actor who played Yondu is playing this character named Savant.
Yeah.
And
Savant, yeah.
He's got like this long blonde hair and he's being all cool, being super accurate with this like ball he's throwing around. He kills a bird or whatever. And the whole opening sequence, he gets sent in. He goes with the rest of the Suicide Squad. There's a bunch of random characters. You've got like Pete Davidson, that one German guy from what's the karaoke movies? I forget what they're called right now. Captain Boomerang's there. Harley Quinn's there. You got a bunch
Weasel.
of
Weasel.
Weasel.
You can't forget Weasel, my boy
best.
Weasel.
He's so weird looking.
You also
it's amazing.
you got TDK. You got
TDK, yeah.
Oh, we already said Weasel.
Oh.
I don't remember who else there, but there's probably
there was like Mongal who.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple different people. But they go to this beach and then Pete Davidson, who plays a dude named Blackguard, turns out he betrays him. He gets instantly shot in the face.
And then
shot in the head.
Hey guys, I'm doing
the like it's just removal of all of this by one bullet.
It's just caved in, just completely caved in. I think the worst part about this is that I decided to watch this with my whole family, and my grandma was there, and she saw that. And I was like, "Oh God, no!" we had to pause the movie for like a solid 10 minutes, so my grandma could just process everything that just happened during that 5 minutes.
That's amazing.
When we went to go see it, the first time we went to go see it, we saw it in theaters with like a bunch of friends. It was like one of the first things we did when I came back. And Kai's little sister came, and she's like, she's in 7th grade. She was fine watching the whole movie, which I think is great, because Kai in 7th grade, no way.
I would have not slept for weeks.
I would probably been in the same boat.
But yeah, I remember just the shout, like the entire theater kind of just went up and like, ah! Pete Davidson's face is just gone. That whole beach scene is amazing because it's that moment where you're like, oh my God, James Gunn, it's the Suicide Squad. You understand? This is a suicide mission.
Yeah.
And every character gets such a good death too. Like even though we've barely met them, I think every death, the only death that kind of it didn't bother me. I was just like, ah, is when Boomer died because I love Captain Boomerang.
That's what when you were talking about if they make like if they bring the older characters or the characters in this movie into like a third one, that's something to worry about with like, you know, I guess we're in spoiled territories like King Shark, Ratcatcher, you know, Bloodshot. Like they can die in the next. Never mind, I scratched that out because didn't they like get free at the end? Like
yeah, they did.
They're just living life. So never mind.
I don't. Here's the thing. I honestly think if they make a third Suicide Squad, the antagonist has to be Waller. She has to be the villain.
Oh, well, wasn't okay? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Like she's the only reason why she's not attacking them is because blackmail. There's reasons why that can go away. She like her whole deal is control. And the one thing I do think, and this is a very small thing, that the original Suicide Squad movie did better than the Suicide Squad is that Viola Davis feels dangerous in the first one. A lot more than in this one. In this one, she's like, oh, she's the asshole boss. Like her coworkers hit her over the head with a golf club at the end, and they're all still alive at the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's what I kind of felt a little weird about was her character, because like even in the comics, she didn't care about anyone or anything as long as she got the job done. So it kind of felt weird. And I guess you can see at the end credits, she made like the workers go work with what's his name,
Peacemaker.
And it's like, oh, now we got to work with this idiot. And I guess so, but
they should be like in an underground prison, being tortured forever by like Victor Zsasz or some shit.
Victor Zsasz.
I don't know if that's his first name. I think that's his first name. Whatever.
I don't know. Well, we get the beach scene. Everybody dies except for Harley and Rick Flag.
Yes.
Boomer does die, which I'm mixed about, but he does get a kingly death. He gets the best death out of all of them.
He definitely does get the best death, but that's one thing where it's like he died okay, but also I think that's an underutilization of a character that I think could have been good.
He got 2 cool kills. We got to see him do the cool boomerang trick with actual like blood, and you know it looked really intense. The brain just like cut off. So I'm glad that they made it look a lot cooler than the first movie with his powers. But
yeah, the glowing boomerangs are just so like sick. Just
I wish they did a little bit more with him. Yeah. Same with Michael Rooker's character.
We don't really see him fight at all because like his whole thing is he's great accuracy. He's like
and like they I know it's kind of a joke that they hyped him up like throughout all the trailers being like one of the main like members of the Suicide Squad,
and he just runs.
But he does nothing. He does absolutely nothing.
I actually think that's probably one of the strongest parts of the early movie is that they created this character, and I think probably one of the best like thematic starters to a movie, where you have this character who's like, he's cruel, he's evil, and he's mean. But the thing that happens with a lot of criminals like that is that he's still just a coward.
Yeah, just a coward.
Like he comes in contact with like real imminent danger and death, and he runs. And like he runs scared, and it's this like ultimate moment of comeuppance, especially with like the bird eating.
It went full circle.
It's very good. I think I really liked his brief character and death.
I also one thing I absolutely loved about this movie, which I don't know if I want to see a lot more. I would like to see a lot more movies do this, but I don't want it to be overdone. But the transitions in this movie were absolutely amazing. I loved how like in the blood it said Warner Brothers presents.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so cool. And then just like everything else, like what was it, like Missions Harley or something like that?
Oh yeah, the fire blows out or something.
Yeah.
And also like the Jotunheim one.
The Jotunheim one was so good. Oh my gosh, they did an amazing job with just making it feel like different titles of like of novels. You know how like the old comics, they're just very thin. You're like, okay, I need to flip on to the next one. Okay, let's see what this one is. Oh, the Suicide Squad versus Starro the Conqueror. All right, I'm gonna read this one now. So I really like how they did that.
Also, I want to just visit. Starro is the best villain to have in this movie. You have like one of the most famous, two, one of the most ridiculous, three. It's like it's just. There's not even a third point. It's Starro the Conqueror. We got a live action Starro. I have a soft spot for Starro because that's always been one of my favorite villains. But
I think that was a perfect choice for villain in this movie.
It's because like the movie itself is so like out there and outlandish, and I don't think any other like big giant villain or obstacle is even close to Starro in this movie. So I'm really glad that they chose Starro. I know a lot of people were mad about that because I've seen a lot of people upset about not a lot of people, mostly people who really like the Snyder Cut, upset about the Suicide Squad and how could you have Starro die that quickly in such a stupid movie like the Suicide Squad? They would have done it a lot better in a Justice League movie. So I was like,
Zack Snyder isn't using Starro in a Justice League movie.
Yeah,
what are you kidding?
Zack Snyder's like, I need to find the darkest, edgiest character.
Yeah.
It's like,
I wasn't expecting Starro, this big, giant blue and purple starfish, to just be the next villain.
If Starro was a villain in a Zack Snyder movie, it definitely wouldn't be an actual starfish. It would be like a dude,
named
like
Starro.
Yeah, or some shit like half like starfish, half man, and like the edgiest clothing.
Yeah, or some like Transformer, big giant Death Star starfish type of thing, or something like that.
Zack Snyder is so goddamn boring. I don't understand why people think he's cool. Like the Snyder Cut, if you haven't seen, it's got some good moments. It is 4 hours long, and the middle is such a slog. Like that movie put me to sleep, almost.
It did, yeah. Gus and I were gonna record our first ever podcast episode on it, but after we finished watching the movie together, we were just so like we were just passed out because it's exhausted. It's a chore. Like, okay, here's the thing. Like what Gus said, there are some really, really cool moments that I won't say in case you ever watch it. Okay. There are really, really good moments in it that I think are some of the best moments in comic book movie history. You just have to wade through so much movie to get to those cool moments. Like it's just it needed another pass to put it down to like 2.5 hours, then it would have been amazing.
Yeah, this movie is much better than anything Zack Snyder has ever made that I've seen. And I liked Army of the Dead more than Kai did. But this is just one of the best scenes, and we were talking about how these characters are bad people, but you still like them. One of the best examples of that for me is when they're going through the encampment of rebels. Yeah. And part of it is like they are brutally murdering these people like casually, and it just becomes like a dick measuring contest between Bloodsport and Peacemaker, where the best part is when he just shoots the fan into the bathtub. And it also gave us probably one of my favorite lines from anything that like no one likes to show off. Unless what they're showing off is dope as fuck.
That's true.
It's like it's all perfectly done, and it's the idea of like these two people are the same character, except for one of them knows that they're a bad person, the other one's like a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And actually the contrast of Bloodsport, Peacemaker, and Rick Flag has a lot of really interesting political implications for me, at least, because I think it's at least in my opinion, an interpretation of different reactions to like the trauma of being a war veteran.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
I can see that.
You have Rick Flag who loves his country, but like understands that what's happening is wrong. Mm-hmm. You have Peacemaker who has like kind of buried himself in this delusion that he's doing the right thing.
I like how they did Polka Dot Man's character and Ratcatcher.
Ratcatcher 2 is my favorite of all time, my favorite character in this movie. That's because it's so good.
Yeah,
I'm glad they went with Ratcatcher 2 as well, because I thought there were rumors of them. They were originally was going to be Taika Waititi, and the whole movie is Ratcatcher 1, but then he had scheduling conflicts or something.
Yeah, I'm so glad they did it this way instead.
It does feel much warmer as a character. It leads to like one of the best moments of the end sequence, actually leading up to the whole thing, starting with Ratcatcher like summoning an insane amount of rats.
This is not your city. This isn't even ours. It's theirs.
Yeah.
And then the rats
then
come in. And
yeah,
you're like,
and then we get like a really sweet
That's really
flashback,
nice.
and then it cuts back to Ratcatcher 2, and then Harley Quinn takes the fated javelin, which
Yeah.
at the beginning of the movie there's a character named Javelin who like instantly gets like shot a bunch, and then he gives Harley Quinn the javelin and he dies before he can tell her what it's supposed to be for. And at the end, she uses it to like stab through Starro's eye. And then as she's like swimming in the gelatin, watching these rats crawl through the hole she made and eat it from the inside. It's so gross and like so beautiful and just like an insane idea for an ending like shot for a movie. And it's great.
Yeah, they did an amazing job. I also want to talk about probably my favorite scene in this whole movie was the scene when Harley escaped prison. I just love how well this scene, just the choreography, how it was shot, the whole like how do you say it? How it went back and took some references from Birds of Prey, which I don't know if you guys watched. And it had like the whole like animated sequence of her like in the background, and we see how she sees the world when she's like killing stuff. Because like to us, it's like this is just gruesome. Like how is she able to do all this? But to her, it's like all like flowers and butterflies and animated birds. It's just so good. Really shows you how insane she is, and they do an amazing job at it. And just,
yes.
Oh my gosh, the choreography.
That reminds me of something that I might actually be influenced by. Have you guys watched like the old Team Fortress 2 meet the like characters videos?
I've seen a few of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen the one for Pyro?
Yeah.
I
think I like that. Like that's an internet classic. This feels very similar to that.
It definitely does.
Yeah. And another, I think one of my favorite parts of that sequence is when Harley Quinn, like right after she's getting interrogated, when she like grabs that guy with her legs, and as soon as she like lifts him up out of the air, I was like, oh, this feels like a dangerous and like threatening killer. In a way that I think it does so much better than Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad.
Yes.
And I haven't seen Birds of Prey, but I don't know, it just looked a little unappealing to me. I want to check it out. Yeah.
It's pretty good. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but it's like, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is.
But, I just spaced so hard.
Well, I'll take over.
Yeah, go ahead.
The thing, at least for me with that scene, is I learned that behind the scenes, Margot Robbie, for this movie, did a good, like, almost all of her stunts. The only ones that she didn't do are ones that would put her in actual physics. So, like, the bit where she raises up her legs and grabs the dude by the neck, like, that's all her being a badass. Her fighting those dudes, that's all her. Like, most of her fighting choreography is actually her. So, like, bashing a dude against a door, throwing a javelin into a guy's face, like, spinning around with the javelin. And also, like, even in the finale when she's jumping up on the roof, that's mostly her. She's just on a harness, but she's still doing it. Like, so cool. The amount of badassery that is Margot Robbie is insane.
Yeah, I mean, Margot Robbie is a phenomenal actress. Have either of you seen The Wolf of Wall Street?
No.
Oh man, that is like Martin Scorsese movie, but that's like one of her biggest movies before she was Harley Quinn, and she's just like she can do serious acting too, and it's really really good.
No, without a doubt, I know she's an amazing actress. Yeah.
And then Margot Robbie is definitely a highlight.
Yeah, definitely. She was amazing in this film. And just like the weird, bizarre choice of music for this scene, I Ain't Nobody by Louis Prima. I'm like, what? But it worked. And that's another thing about James Gunn. He has like the weirdest picks of classic music, and he just puts it in movies in a way that it works.
Yes, it reminds me. I think they do it better. It reminds me a lot of Tarantino. I think Tarantino was better at it as much as I don't like giving him props because I don't like him as a person, he's really, really good at taking random music and just putting in his movies. And the thing that Tarantino does is that, like, after he puts it in a movie, it's a popular song again. Like, Stuck in the Middle with You. People did not know about that before Reservoir Dogs. Like, it was a song, it's like a top chart song for like a week. And he was like, I'm bringing it back. And now everyone knows it. And this movie definitely does a very similar thing where James Gunn is like, I'm not going to pick like the most obvious thing. He uses Hope in Prison at the beginning of the movie. Oh
no. Don't need anyone dying in the suicide review, bro.
Hi, welcome to the Suicide Podcast, where one member of us dies.
One of us dies. You're not gonna know who.
Yeah, this is just the chemistry of just all the cast. Like, I think all the cast does a really good job, and like I was expecting, you got Idris Elba. Idris Elba constantly does a good job. Yeah. The member I think I was most surprised that did a really good job is honestly John Cena.
I was going to talk about that.
Right?
I was surprised by his performance. Like, I mean, it's not crazy amazing, but it's for John Cena.
He's John Cena. Like, he's not an actor.
Yeah, for John Cena, it was pretty good. It was pretty all right.
I mean, the main thing I was like with all the jokes that like most of his character, I was like, oh yeah, he's doing pretty good. It's nothing phenomenal. Then you get to that there's one line that he delivered that I was like, oh shit, like this is like, it's really good. It's when he says, I forget exactly what the line is. So on Rick Flag, he finds like the hard drive that proves that the U.S. was behind Starro, and then he points the gun at, Peacemaker points the gun at Rick Flag, and he says something like, please, sir, you're an honorable soldier. I don't want to kill you. And he's like, it's for John Cena. Damn. Like,
that whole scene is very good.
That scene,
especially like the because I'm thorough. Like, the fact that you can see the conflict in his head right before that moment, and then he like makes a choice based off of who he is, and it's like he was going to kill her, and it's very well done.
And the whole like just the creative angles in which like the helmet, you saw like a lot of the fight through the helmet.
It's so good.
That was pretty great.
Man,
that was pretty great. But yeah, it's just also another thing I really enjoyed about this movie is the fact that it's a lot of practical effects, and like they're actually at these places. Like a lot of the times, most of the CGI is just used for like maybe that one building at some time, like sometimes the one main building, and most of like the animated characters.
Yeah.
But besides that, everything else was like practical most of the time.
Well, even like the Starro masks on people, like those were like legit masks.
I saw the behind the scenes, and I saw people actually wearing the Starro mask. So I thought,
the only CG with that was just to move the eyeball around in the middle of it.
Yeah, it was so cool. I love that, and it's interesting. It took me a second. On my second watch, I realized it, but James Gunn said he was inspired by a lot of like war movies when watching this, and I didn't really get that the first time, but then the second time I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, I see it. I definitely see it, especially during the scene with like the whole like army and Starro flying everywhere, and it's like all cloudy and the stars are falling. And it's like, it definitely felt like a war movie at that scene.
Well, that's one of the things that makes it, at least for me, what I think is the greatest comic book movie I've ever seen. It's just it's a comic book war movie. I've been asking for this for like a while, because like straight off the bat, like I think to me at least the most warlike scene is literally the Suicide Squad scene where everybody dies. Because you have a battle in the jungle. It feels very like it's harkening back to Vietnam War movies.
Mm-hmm. That's a very big war movie scene. My argument for the biggest war movie scene in this movie is Rick Flag and Peacemaker arguing about the hard drive.
That's
true, yeah. When he says he's influenced by war movies, if you want, like, you talk about stuff like Full Metal Jacket, Deer Hunter, a lot of those old like Vietnam War films. There's a lot of like is what we were doing or what we did right? And there's always people who are like, yes, people who are no. And it's more complicated than that in all of those movies. Well, it depends on the movie you're talking about. But this movie definitely touches on that. It also touches on like just being anti-American involvement in other people's shit. And very explicitly in a way that I was not expecting from this movie. I was very happy to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff in this movie. And now that my internet's back, I think what I think makes John Cena a very good actor is that one thing that like makes being a great wrestler is being a great performer.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I get what you mean. Like it is interesting seeing John Cena like move on to the whole acting industry. And it does seem like as he goes on, he's obviously going to get better, especially with his series coming out. Because doesn't he have like an HBO Max series coming out? So
yeah, the Peacemaker show.
That'll probably get him a little bit more out there for stuff. But
yeah,
it's definitely good seeing him now as Peacemaker than it was seeing him as Fred's dad in the Fred movie.
Oh, don't remind me of those movies ever again. John Cena's like the only thing entertaining about those.
Bizarre to me. I don't even know how they got him onto the movie. It was so weird. I know Kai looks so confused.
I don't know what this is.
I don't know a lot about the original Fred. All I know is that it was like a YouTube series, like early YouTube. This annoying ass kid, like the most annoying best voice ever. And then they made like 3 movies about him. And he doesn't have, like, his dad left in the actual movies, so his imaginary fantasy dad is John Cena.
John Cena
just popping up and, like, giving inspirational speeches
and he
randomly.
Actually abuses him. He's like, he gives crazy him an inspirational speech and then, like, throws him on a table. It's like,
he'll do, like, wrestling moves.
I'll be back. And then he, like, comes out of a refrigerator or something.
He'll power bomb him and then just disappear. It's so weird.
This feels very like Adolf Hitler in the Taika Waititi movie. The Jojo
not a
Rabbit.
bad comparison.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's not a bad comparison at all. It was so bizarre, but you know,
yeah.
What are you gonna do? But yeah, him as Peacemaker here was pretty great. As we said before, Ratcatcher. I don't want to just call her Ratcatcher. I want to give her props. Daniela Melchior.
Yeah, I know she's Portuguese.
Yeah, she did a really good job.
Her physicality is incredible. Like you always can, like she with her hunched over a bit with like the gas mask. I love the way that looks. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, I mean, there is one character we have not talked about yet. He is right behind you.
Yeah,
Nanawe.
Big Nanawe.
We haven't talked about King Shark yet, and this is
how have we not talked about King Shark?
I know,
yet?
right? It's weird.
It was in the back of my head. I was like, when are we going to talk about him? I was like, it's like you know, we like, have him right behind me and Kai.
We were talking about Starro, and like one of the things that I thought was great about Starro, and a lot of like the CGI characters, including Weasel and King Shark, is the way that they move is so good. Yeah, Starro has this like his legs, his arms are so floppy, and he hunches, so he's just like looks like he's like just towering over everything while like looking. It's so weird. And then King Shark also has this great little run.
Yeah, the waddle. It's so good.
And just
new dumb friends.
Bird.
And
it feels like and this isn't like the first I'm not the first person who's brought this up, like a better version of what Groot was in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's that same energy, right? Because you have Vin Diesel in that, and now you have Sylvester Stallone.
It was such an upgrade.
I thought that was crazy to me. I didn't even realize
enjoy books so much.
Because I didn't even look at the cast really. When it comes to movies nowadays, I like everyone. They always show too much in the trailers, so I try to like.
I strongly agree.
Yeah, I just try to like not watch the trailers and see who's in it. So it was a surprise to me when I found out Sylvester Stallone was King Shark. It was so crazy to me. And just sitting here speaking this broken English as a ginormous fat shark. It was so bizarre.
Yeah, and another great choice I think that they made is that he isn't muscular. Like he's just big. Like he feels strong.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not like, because like what I always, if you've ever watched the CW Flash show,
I was gonna say that.
Yeah. Because like the King Shark in the CW Flash show is fine. He's not bad, but he just kind of looks
things from that show. And I know that isn't saying much.
I was gonna say I kind of like the direction they're going towards King Shark of just making him, because like not even only in the Suicide Squad movie, but I don't know if you guys watched the Harley Quinn animated show.
Yeah, absolutely, the first season.
Yeah, like having King Shark just be this big, round, cuddly looking shark that's just an instant killer. It's just so good to me.
They always make King Shark a bear. Like you want to hug it, but you know if you do, you're gonna die.
Exactly. I like that
totally
design of him.
Yeah, is as King Shark in the Harley Quinn show is great.
Yeah, that's my favorite character in the Harley Quinn show.
I gotta watch season 2.
Season 2 is very good.
Yeah, I binged all of season 1 in like one night, and then I haven't come back to it.
Also, King Shark in this movie, I think it's one of my favorite shots in just any movie. Just him grabbing a guy, lifting him up, and then you see him rip him apart with the lightning strike in the background. I screamed in the theater. I was
this movie has so many amazing shots.
It is visually fantastic, which is something that James Gunn is great at. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, like spoilers for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Yondu's funeral is still like visually gets me to like gasp every time.
A lot of Guardians 2 is also, I think it's better than 1. I think that's kind of a controversial opinion.
In some ways I can agree. Yeah.
My argument for Guardians 2 is that it does a lot of the same things 1 does, just better. Like it has the same theme, but it like gets to its point a lot better, and like Kurt Russell just makes it more fun to watch.
Yeah.
This Suicide Squad, though, definitely a great movie. I highly recommend people watch it.
Yes.
It's on like HBO Max, and if you feel safe enough, the theaters. Like
watching it in Dolby Cinemas, which is what Gus and I did. We went to the AMC by the Bay Area. We watched it in the biggest screen possible with the loudest speakers, and it's like it is a good time if you're feeling safe.
Yes. The thing is, for me, it's like I know a lot of people nowadays are like kind of hating on superhero movies. Like, there's so many superhero movies out right now. Blah 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 blah. I feel like 2 superhero movies that everyone should watch, not just as a superhero movie, but just as a movie in general, is the Suicide Squad and Spider-Verse. Watch those just as their own.
Spider-Verse.
Don't even think of it as a superhero movie.
Yeah, Spider-Verse is it is the perfect Spider-Man movie.
It's the best Spider-Man movie.
Oh man, it's so good. That's another movie I would love to talk about again at some point, because some of the best looking animation ever.
Good.
Just
so good.
And one of the best
any day of the week.
One of the best like scenes of catharsis in any film. Like not even any comic book movie, just any film.
The building, the jumping off the building scene still gives me chills every time I watch it. It's so good. It is so good.
We've gotten so much good Spider-Man stuff recently, like that, and the Spider-Man game is
Spider-Man game is fantastic.
I know you played it. Have you played it, Melvin?
Which one? Both of them? I played both of them.
I haven't played Miles Morales yet.
I haven't played Miles Morales.
I've 100%ed that one.
Nice.
Yeah. But they're both amazing. You go. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I got that game like pretty much right after it came out for my birthday.
Yeah.
And I beat it in 4 days. It was Thanksgiving break, and I crushed it. That's off topic, but like
story, controls, fighting. That's the thing about me with like a lot of games. It's like I can't really get into the fighting. It feels very like button mashy, but like it just feels so smooth with the acrobatics in that game.
when you get into that perfect combat flow, like when
Yes.
you're going to a base and you're just in it, and like it's almost like your eyes glaze over and your like body takes over.
Exactly.
The only other game that really's gotten me like that is the God of War 4.
That's
the most recent one. That's my favorite game.
Agreed.
Barely beat Spider-Man, but they're both great.
No, I finished it. Yeah, I like it. I really do. I really enjoy it. It's a good game.
I want the sequel to come out.
Isn't it coming out later this year or next year?
I don't know. All I know is I'm
This
gonna be
year.
sad when it comes out because it's gonna be PS5, and I don't have one of those yet.
Right, PS5.
Well, here's the thing, because of like COVID and because a lot of those are not selling, there's a good chance a lot of those games are going to be selling on PS4 too.
That's true. But yeah. It's a good movie. Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're talking about this movie, not Spider-Man.
Sure.
We got a bit distracted, but thanks for tuning in to this episode of Critically Loud, where we talked about Suicide Squad. If you're feeling safe, you can see it in the theater. If not, it's on HBO Max. I don't know for how much longer, but you will have a lot of fun watching this movie. If you're in the spoiler section, I'm assuming you've already seen it, but
I hope so.
Whatever. Thank you, Miles, for talking with us.
Thank you for having me on. It was
Do you have any plugs?
Fun.
Any stuff you want
to? They'll find me.
Yeah, they'll find me. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. It was so much fun. I really appreciate it.
This is great.
Yeah, hopefully this will not be the last time because I enjoyed this.
Oh yeah. Hopefully not. You guys gotta give me like movies to watch because I'm always open to watching any type of movie, no matter how good or bad it is.
Yeah, I think with this show we're probably going to be leaning into like some weird shit, just because. There's been a couple movies we talked about that's just bizarre that I feel like it would be fun to get into.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
You can find our plugs. We have an Instagram that I don't remember the name of, but whatever.
I believe it's just the LittleSchemers. I can check.
Yeah, I think so. I think
it's probably that. I'm not the runner of that. That's your job.
No, it's just LittleSchemers.
It's just LittleSchemers.
No capitals, no space. LittleSchemers.
There's no also. This is the 2016 version of our channel. Then we'll later make another channel that's even better called the
James
Gunn. Yeah. So tune in for when we become the LittleSchemers, and maybe we'll kill off Gus. Who knows? This has been Critically Loud. Don't die.
Yeah.
Don't die out there.
Don't die out there. Don't join the Suicide Squad. Amanda Waller will get you. And
your head will blow up.